Cassowary Coast to CCIN's weekly segment for our 2019 May the 23rd newspaper edition. We look forward to showing you a few highlights that were in last week's newspaper and some of the action to look forward to in the next week's newspaper edition. If you like an article and want to see more content, please subscribe to the app in either Google Play or Apple, or purchase a newspaper from your local distributor. Last week, Tully held an event to be proud of. Nothing about the World Rafting Championships could better display the superb organisation on the committee than the various events away from the water. From the parade and opening ceremony to the medal presentations to the closing ceremony, everything went off with nary a hiccup. The closest thing to a glitch was when the Chinese team apparently forgot they had to turn up at the showgrounds to accept their gold medals, perhaps flummoxed by the fact that it was their first ever rafting gold. "They're running up from Tyson Hotel," event director Graham McFrady announced to the crowd, stalling the proceedings as they waited for them to arrive. For the most part, everything ticked over with the precision of a Swiss watch, and there were 1,000 small things that could have gone wrong in an event like this, anything from buses not being ready to go, missing medals to incorrect flags. To pull something like this together requires hundreds of people to take individual responsibility for a specific task, and for each task to be coordinated with dozens of other tasks, all communicated in a timely manner. If one person slips up, it can all have a domino effect all the way down the line. A few weeks ago, Greg Shannon attended the latest QRL History Committee meeting in Brisbane, which proved to be a significant event, as it was the last one to be chaired by one of the great stalwarts of Queensland Rugby League, Kevin Brash. Anyone who has followed the game for a long time will know who Kevin is. For those who don't, he was a former halfback from the 1960s who went on to become one of the Code's great administrators, managing the Queensland State of Origin side and Australian sides in the 1980s, and was a member and at one stage chairman of the Australian Rugby League. Now in his 80s, Kev has finally called full-time on his involvement in the game, but it is worth noting just how people like him have helped build the game. They played and coached and administered the game in an era where everyone held down full-time jobs, and they did it mainly because they simply loved the game. Now that Kevin has stepped down, sadly, it is the end of an era. Shane Greenwood, manager of the Tully Support Centre, has a simple message. Domestic violence in Australia is bad, and it's not something that happens over there. There is lots of domestic violence right here on the Cassowary Coast. 1 in 4 women will experience domestic violence in her lifetime. Women are not the only victims either. There are a significant number of male victims due to the fact, Greenwood believes, that a lot of people are still living back in the old days 30 to 40 years ago. Back then, people thought it was okay for women to hit men. These days, we hope the cycle has been broken, but it hasn't been for many, and turning a blind eye to it helps no one. Thankfully, laws are in place to protect women, but in talking to Greenwood, many are still too ashamed to come forward and seek help. Women especially seem to suffer from high levels of stress, anxiety, and low self-esteem in such relationships, which stops them from reporting violence perpetrated upon them by their partner, who they look to for approval. One thing Greenwood wants to make clear: any acts of aggression towards a domestic partner are wrong, regardless of the gender of the victim, regardless of the sexuality of the relationship, and the negative effects don't just impact the adult partner. They can lead to all kinds of psychological and physical damage to children in the family. Learn the warning signs and learn the next steps. If you need any help or know anyone who needs help, contact the staff at Tully Support Centre today.
My name is Shannon Payton. We're here today at the Kurraja Hotel to do the pig hunt weigh-in. As you can see, we've had a fair few pigs come in so far. It's quite surprising to see how many numbers of wild pigs are out there in those rural communities. Regardless of what background of agriculture you come from, still we all have the same problem with feral pest pigs. Today it's good fun to get everyone together and just to communicate and just to see where the hot spots are and where people are having trouble from. It's a multi-million-dollar issue for agriculture in Queensland, Australia in itself, really. So, as you see from photos, or you can go for a bit of a spiel, just how big these guys are and the volumes that we have to deal with. As a farmer, it is a bit of a problem with costs, mainly to try and produce produce for you guys to consume, and this is one of the daily things that we need to deal with.